grounded, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Friday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. No Scotty G today, so we'll have to tell you all about Garrison Financial as we move along throughout the show. It is a pre-Memorial Day Friday, which means the unofficial start of summer is coming. I noticed driving by earlier, the crews are out at the pool, the water park. Looks like they're getting ready to crank that thing up.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Today is the day. That all the
Putt-putt.
all of it.
Train.
Today. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, what's it called? Thunderhead Bay, something like that?
Something like that.
I've seen on these cool new signs I'm seeing all through town.
Yeah, I noticed those signs right out here on the corner of 3rd and Pioneer.
Yeah.
Leaving the baseball complex the other day. It's like, how long has that been here? And then, I'm going to say not very long because I saw him put one up out at 20th and Main.
Yeah, all the entryways, the main thoroughways or thoroughfares or whatever. It's a really great idea. I think it's Leadership Class 18, the latest leadership class.
Have you been in
their
that
project? The very first one.
Were you really?
Yep. Yeah. Very first one.
How in the world did you get to do that?
I was asked. Someone asked me, and I said, okay. So I did it. I was approached by none other than Chief Eddie Holland. Said, hey, I think you'd be good for this. And he asked me to be a part of it.
You know, I was asked to do it one time.
Yeah.
And the problem always is there's a mandatory,
retreat.
Mm-hmm. And it's always during basketball playoffs.
Oh, darn it. Yeah, I can't remember.
Susie asked me a couple of times, and I was like, listen, this is never going to work because it's like in the middle of February.
Yeah. I'm
like, nope, I can't attend the the kickoff mandatory retreat. I can't go. So it's cool.
Well,
deal.
if they change it or whatever, I highly recommend it. It's very insightful
about how city government works.
That it's good for your self, self learning of leadership qualities and training, stuff like that. But and it's not just you think a class, you think it's for younger people. It's not. It's for all ages. And if you love your community, this is a must. I highly recommend it. And there's some great projects that have been accomplished because remember those webcams? You've seen those?
Mm-hmm.
That was from one of the classes, and these signs are from the latest one. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Yeah, and they look nice.
I mean, I know I'm driving in and I see them. One, they look nice. You're right, but then I'm thinking, I don't need those signs. I know where everything's at, but it's not for me. It's for people who come into town and go, okay, that's where I go to the shopping district, or that's how I get out to the golf course, or that's how I get out to the Fiveplex. Gives you a general idea. It's a pretty good idea. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic new signs all around town. Great job to the leadership class. All right, coming up on the show today, here's the deal. I couldn't print out my rundown.
Oh, yeah?
So I can't open the Excel sheet on my new computer because Excel isn't installed. But I can't print from my old one. I just discovered I forgot to change the printer over. So what was on there? What we're going to cook for Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
That was the topic.
That might take 45 minutes of our time.
That's right. Top 5 storylines in college football. I know you kind of hit on that just a little bit yesterday. Want to really dive into that. What do you think are the biggest storylines coming up in college football? And then also, I guess yesterday it was officially announced that the NCAA and the Power 5 conferences, which are there still 5?
It's so convoluted anymore. I don't know. Is there?
I mean, the Pac-12 isn't
the
even a
Pac-12's
thing,
not a
is it?
thing.
So really,
It
Power
is and it
4?
isn't. It's weird.
Anyhow, so
Yeah.
but they agreed, and that $20 million number we talked about earlier this week appears to be exactly the figure that that the schools are going to have to pay out to athletes, and so we'll kind of dive into that as well. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That is 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text, talk about any of those things, whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. You can log on to kadsam.com, or you can download the app. The app has it all. It's got the radio, it's got the Penny News, Big Elk and Paragon TV, and then, of course, Skinny on Sports podcast. If you missed the show entirely, you can check that out. I'm afraid our little friend might get dizzy spinning around in that chair.
She's a little restless over there. I'd allow her to bring her phone if she wanted to look on her phone, but I
We
guess
cannot
not.
get her. We cannot get young Katie to come up here and say something.
She's not going to do it.
She's not going to do it. All right, so what I'd really like to ask, if she would just tell us, is what does she think ought to be on the menu for Memorial Day weekend?
It's one of her.
What should Dad be cooking?
Come on. What should I be cooking?
What
for
should
Memorial
be
Day
for
weekend?
Memorial Day weekend?
Speak right up to the mic.
Katie Atha.
Ribs.
What's that? Go right here.
The ribs that you make.
The ribs.
The ribs.
Is that what's on the menu, Jared?
That is what's on the menu.
Really?
Yes. Did you know that? Audience can't hear your head shake. You got to talk. Did you know that?
No.
No?
Are you excited now that you do know it?
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on this weekend? Is there any softball to be played?
Yeah, James is playing softball.
James is playing
the little
softball.
ones, yeah. We got rain. Well, we didn't get really rain, but we got stormed out. The threat
Yesterday.
of storm, they went ahead and canceled it. So, but there's softball Saturday, Sunday. But Monday we got nothing, and we're gonna cook some ribs. Although I think we're gonna go watch your friend play baseball. Uh-oh, she's blushing. We're gonna go watch and maybe some t-ball. Your niece on Monday evening, but during the day I'm gonna smoke some ribs and we'll have all this.
So that's
All
so
the
you're actually
sides.
doing this on Memorial Day.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it early and do the 3-2-1 method and do all that. Yeah,
So are they spare ribs, baby back ribs,
spare ribs.
spare ribs?
Yep.
The 3-2-1. So you smoke it 3 hours, wrap it 2, and then glaze it and
Yeah,
Shred
Katie
from-
likes them, and James does too. She likes them, sloppy and
Oh.
yeah, not dry.
Sauce on.
She likes sauce on, don't you? Yeah, you do. Yeah.
sauced.
So that's
So you're
it's
actually
pretty
doing that Friday or on Monday.
Yeah, well, probably I'll prep them Sunday night and everything.
Do you have a certain rub, like a
Not really.
brand, or do you just kind of? Because I actually have a recipe I've got written down on a piece of paper
Oh, really?
of rib rub.
Is it like a secret family recipe? or
No,
can you
it's
share
just
it
something
with
I
me?
did. I can't remember what all's in there.
Okay. Well,
But
find that piece of paper and snap a picture.
It's got it's got a bunch of different spices. But I've actually got the like the measurements and everything.
Wow.
It's a little bit, a lot of people when you think of rib rubs, it's more red.
Yeah.
With probably paprika and that kind of thing, chili powder or whatever makes it pretty a dark red. Mine's a little bit more orangey looking.
Like a McCormick's kind of brand. I mean, they kind of have a.
It looks
orangish look.
I hate to put my secret out there, but a big part of why it's the color it is because of Lowry's seasoning salt.
Gotcha.
And then a bunch of other stuff to go in there. But I'm not a paprika guy.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it does other than color. Paprika doesn't taste like anything to me. Does it taste like anything to you?
I'm not the top of my head. No, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, it's like just a red powder.
Yeah.
I don't get it, like chalk or something. I don't like the taste of chalk.
I think the idea is when you cook it.
but it's got a little when you look at it, it's got like a little pepper on the symbol. I don't know. Maybe it's an acquired taste. Anyhow,
Yeah.
I am excited for Sunday. So
Sundays when you're
Sunday.
doing the thing?
So here's the deal. Monday, Monday is actually Kara and I's anniversary.
Oh wow.
7-year anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Well,
7
thank you.
years.
Thank you. I mean,
And I
it's
really
been,
meant to say congratulations to Kara.
yeah. I mean, it's been the shortest / longest 7 years of my life.
That's usually how it feels.
But so we're going to go tonight. We're going to go to Oklahoma City
Okay.
and celebrate our anniversary this evening, and then come back. There's a pool party at Granny's Saturday. There's a pool party at our house Sunday, because we have managed to turn our pool from looking like a swamp in somewhere in Louisiana to crystal clear swimming water. I hope. Listen, I'm glad it didn't really rain, because we need it to heat up. The temperature last time I looked in our pool was 81. That's a little chilly. Normally in the heat of the summer,
Yeah.
our pool, we don't really have like a solar cover or anything, and ours will get to like 87 to 89, which is a little cooler than some. But here's the deal: what is the pool for?
Cooling off.
Cooling
right?
off. Yeah. So I don't mind it being just a little chillier than some others,
Right.
because that's the point. But if it doesn't heat up, and the rain obviously was going to cool it down a little bit, that's a little chilly. It's a little bit chilly. But so we are going to go to the city. We're going to eat at a place I've never even heard of. My wife found it. And now I've started asking people about it, and people have gone here. It's called Tellers. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I have heard of this.
So it's inside the First National Bank building in downtown Oklahoma City. I cannot wait. It looks really cool. Reviews are mostly positive. Of course, anything on the internet, there's no way you're going to have a completely positive review, because the internet, people just like to gripe.
It's a cesspool. Yeah.
But I am so excited. It's kind of an Italian. I'm shocked that my wife found this or came up with this, because first off, Italian food normally isn't really her jam, which it is mine. I love Italian food. Mm-hmm. But so we're going to check that out. I can't wait. It's going to be cool.
We're already getting rave reviews on the text line.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, we are. And so, but the other thing that I'm most excited about for the weekend. So on Sunday, when everybody comes to our house to swim, I have already thought out, and it's hanging out in the fridge, a Monty Tucker brisket.
Oh, boy.
I cannot wait. I've been watching. You know who Aaron Franklin is? Franklin's Barbecue in Austin.
I've heard of Franklin's Barbecue. Yeah.
So he is the Franklin, Aaron Franklin.
Okay.
And I've been watching his videos on how to smoke a perfect brisket, because apparently he knows how. If you look at the Texas Monthly top 50, he's always like toward the top.
Oh, I bet.
And another thing that I found, so the barbecue place, the what's it called? Barbecue Supply Joint in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, I bought a jar of Aaron Franklin brisket rub.
Oh, straight from the source.
Straight from the source. Now, all it is salt and pepper, but it's different. But it's different, like grinds and of peppers, of a pepper. So that's all that's going on, that puppy. And let the Monty Tucker brisket shine through. I cannot wait.
Hey, kudos to Monty. I saw at I don't know if it's on the baseball side.
It is.
His beef sticks are
Yes.
at the concession stands.
They're
That's awesome.
flying off the shelves.
Yes, they are.
Apparently.
Yes, they are. They are delicious.
So
Glad they're out there.
I was just watching the video. I bought butcher paper a long time ago, just specifically to smoke a brisket. That's the only reason. And I haven't. And let's see. We got this half of beef from Mont, like October, and I've waited all the way until the summer to start and a pool party. I've just been. I didn't do it for any football games. I thought I might, but I didn't.
It's perfect weekend.
I cannot wait.
Perfect weekend. So
that's
you're gonna
what
make it
we're-
like sandwiches or just straight off the plate, or however,
eat it.
however
You want to eat it.
Yeah.
And watching his videos, I mean, he gets down to like the temperatures when you need to wrap it.
Oh,
See, I've read and seen a bunch of different things, like 165 being where it kind of stalls out and you want to wrap it, and they call it the Texas crutch. He tells you to wrap it at 185. So, and I'm sure that's to create more of the bark, the outside crusty part of it, and spritz it with apple cider vinegar every hour. Here's the problem. That's not going to be a possibility because so I've got to put it on Sunday morning, and then, we're going to be at church for 3 hours or so. But I think the timing is going to work about right to where it'll, by the time we get home from church, will be where it's starting to get closer to the 185 so we can wrap it. And then, of course, you got to rest it for an hour or two after you. So I've kind of got to figure out the timing of this and when to get up and start and all that. But super duper excited. I cannot wait. Anything else? What are your sides to go with your ribs?
I leave that up to Allie, so it'll probably be the normal. What do you want with the ribs?
Yeah. What else? You're going to have to get closer.
Okay, come on, baby. What else do you want? Like green beans, corn?
Corn.
You like corn?
Yeah, I like corn.
What about mac and cheese? Are you a mac and cheese girl?
Yeah, I like
I like mac and cheese, too. I know we've got my mother's making rigged potatoes,
Okay.
which is like, the cheesy peppers and onions and, and then also I think my man Forrest is going to bring jalapeno poppers.
Oh, now I might try to double that up in the smoker as well.
Did you see that tool I won at our Christmas party?
Yeah, have you used it yet?
Yes. I actually shot a video. Oh, she's leaving.
Yeah, I
gotta
got it. So you tell the audience what that is.
Okay.
That tool. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay, so at our Christmas party out at our friends at Simon's Catch, every year we go there, and one of the Dirty Santa gifts was this jalapeno popper core. It's like this little copper thing. You just cut the end off, or the top off, and then you just swirl it around and just pulls all the guts of the jalapeno straight out, and it makes creating jalapeno poppers immensely easier than if you didn't have this tool. I mean, you can just jerk all the ribs and the seeds right out with this little tool. I mean, it's one of those things that, jalapeno poppers can be kind of a tedious project to the point where I had almost talked myself into wanting to just make the jalapeno popper dip because it's easier than just making jalapeno poppers. But with the new tool, creating the jalapeno poppers is so much easier.
So you've used it.
I have used it, and
Okay.
it is awesome.
I forgot about that thing till just now.
No, it's awesome.
That's awesome.
I think I actually shot a video. I can't remember if I put it on our Facebook page or not.
I need a. So who? Do you remember who got this for you?
Terry.
I need to find out where it came from. I'm sure Amazon has one, but
I think it came from the barbecue supply store.
Did it?
It's the same one, but in Amarillo.
because weren't we supposed to get like a bunch of gag gifts and stuff? And this one came, and it's like, this is not a gag. This is a very useful tool.
No, it's awesome.
Because
It's
that is my
absolutely
only
awesome.
hold up about jalapeno poppers is preparing them. It takes a bit, but if you have a handy dandy tool like that.
That's what I said when you were
Yeah.
out for a second. I'd almost talked myself into making the dip
Oh yeah,
because it's so much easier
Yeah.
to make than having to struggle around. But with this thing, oh, it's easy. It is absolutely the bee's knees, as they say.
you know what? I forgot. I was going to surprise you and go get the ice cream,
Oh, the gooey
and
butter.
we were going to do that, but I totally forgot till we started talking about food. I was going to go look for that for both of them. The one you mentioned and the new root beer float one.
I like root beer floats.
Yeah, but I totally spaced. I was in a hurry getting kids around. So maybe we'll have to do it like after Memorial, maybe before 4th of July.
Yeah, there we go.
But I don't know if I can wait that long.
Yeah, we'll probably do it for that. And then, of course, I kicked around the idea of making homemade ice cream because it's kind of that time.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be fun. Memorial Day is fun.
it's always fun. I'd love to know what everyone else is cooking.
Yeah, text us in, 225-9698. What's on the menu at your house for the Memorial Day weekend? Just tell us.
Yeah,
We can talk about it.
maybe give us ideas.
Always up for a good idea.
for future cookouts.
All right, when we come back, what are some of the top storylines in college football coming into this season? There's a lot of change, which creates a lot of these things. Skinny on Sports coming back on The Sports Animal.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports on this Garrison Financial Friday, right here on 98.1 FM, The Sports Animal. Scott Garrison at Garrison Financial, normally with us on Fridays, but he's out of town, which is fine. He deserves a little break every now and again, right?
Of course.
He is
In fact, I think he's out of town for training, so I don't know how much of a break it is.
Oh, so it's a work out of town.
Work is very loosely used right there.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Arizona would be a pretty cool place to be right about now. Maybe not too hot just yet.
I don't know. Isn't it like hot year round over there?
Yeah, I mean, but not like
Tucson,
not like 4,000 degrees like it would be here in a month
No.
or two. Scotty G is a full financial planner who will shop the open market. He'll bring you the best value on your life insurance and your investments. Obviously, the up and down nature of what's going on in the financial world right now, Scott will be right there to kind of guide you and help you through these kind of rough waters as we prepare to get into the backstretch of this latest presidential election and what that'll mean to the financial industry. It's hard to tell. That's why you hang out with Scott, because he has his finger on the pulse of a lot of that. So Scott@SoonerWealth.com is his email address. 124 North Main, right here in downtown Elk City, is his physical location. 821-1219 is the phone number down there at Garrison Financial. All right, Jared, it's in this state, college football is always top of mind, no matter what month it is, and the transfer portal has made it more of a year-round thing. Now we're getting into those schools out and the summer workouts that kind of prepare everybody to start getting into physical shape or stay into shape as we get ready for, fall camp will be here before you know it. So I was thinking, all right, what are some of the top storylines that will be talked about throughout the summer month, and then, of course, going into next football season? It seems like every year there's a bunch of them, but this year is a little bit more unique because of the changing landscape of what college football is. So I'll let you go. What is we don't have to do it in order, but of importance, but whatever. What's one that you got on your mind?
Well, I had 5, obviously, and I talked about this yesterday, but I am making an audible. I'm taking one out because of what happened pretty much last night or late afternoon, and with the ruling of the paying of players. So I'll go ahead and mention that one first. It's when does that? There's a lot of questions with that. When does that go into effect? Does that start immediately, July 1, whatever? And what does that mean? There's a lot of questions. Like we've talked about the potential of this, and even Title IX and the whole college sports landscape. But in particular, what's it mean for football? And does it turn into this university pays players more than that university? Can that even happen, or does it all have to be equal share across the board, depending if you go play at Akron or if you go play at the Ohio State? So that's going to be very interesting and a huge topic of discussion, not just this season, but for further seasons down the road. So That one right there for me, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think now that we know what's going to happen, the win is the next thing moving forward. It looks like 2025 would be when this kicks in because of just the way that the court system moves and all that kind of thing. $2.7 billion in damages over the last 10 years to past or current athletes. Roughly $20 million revenue sharing plan will go into effect between the schools and the players. This was voted on, accepted, the plea or the settlement, I guess it was a better way to put it. The settlement was accepted by the NCAA's Board of Governors and then also the leaders from the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the SEC. And I guess probably because of the reason why Pac-12 is in there, I guess, is because of the backdating part of this when they were still a thing. And then also Notre Dame, as an institution, also agreed as a member of the ACC.
Well, thank God we had to get Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean that's just how powerful they still are. And so, you know, there's a lot of legalese that go into this between now and when it happens, but it looks like the fall of 2025 is when the revenue sharing plan will start. Then there's a bunch of details that have to be worked out for the $2.7 billion settlement that'll go to past athletes basically over the last 10 years. Yeah, that's a huge thing. And now that that's been settled, how does that incorporate with what NIL is or has become? Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any way the NIL goes away just because of this settlement. But is it more a supplement now? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's a lot of that.
A lot of questions in the air.
Yeah. Okay. So the one I've got in my mind is change, not only with teams going to different conferences, but also a couple of iconic programs have different coaches. Michigan, the defending national champion, it really felt like Harbaugh had that thing rolling. 3 straight Big Ten titles, 3 straight college football playoff appearances, and now he leaves. How does Sherrone Moore take over? You know, how does he keep the train on the tracks, or is there a step back? And then obviously, with the GOAT stepping aside at Alabama, do we still continue to see Alabama roll like they have, or is this a chance for the rest of the SEC to kind of take advantage of a wounded Alabama without Saban? I think those are that's a storyline that maybe not even will be told this season as much as it'll be told for the future seasons with those two iconic programs having that drastic a change at the top.
Yeah, one of my topics is the post-Saban era. What's it going to look like at Alabama? I totally failed to even think about Michigan, probably because I think when I think of those two programs and how they're going to be without those two guys that you mentioned, I think, and I said this yesterday, I think Alabama, it's not going to be as much of a drop-off as people think as it's going to be. Because I go back to when Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, the comforting words of Bob Stoops saying, listen, there's not one man that is bigger than the program. People might not remember this. A lot of kids don't remember this because they're probably born into the Saban era and never thought about it. But Alabama was pretty dang good before Saban. I mean, they were kind of struggling there before he came in. He brought them back to where they were accustomed to being. There might be a slight dip by Alabama's standards, but I still think they're going to be very formidable and contenders in the SEC for the future. And so I'm not exactly writing them off. And you know, and I think I've said this too this week. If it's Alabama versus, I don't know, Ole Miss right now, who are we picking? I would lean Alabama right now, even though Saban's not there. Now Michigan, on the other hand, I don't know because I know they're defending champs, but there's a lot of turnover there, and there's also the NCAA investigation stuff. You know, that's a big reason why Harbaugh left. And you know, what did he hand off to the new guy? So I think they're more susceptible to having a little bit of a fall off than Alabama is. But those are two programs we'll watch this season and see how they react with their new coaches.
Yeah, Bama. Here's the truth: they've had ups and downs. They just have, and part of that's been NCAA penalties have slowed them down at times. Part of it is just didn't have the right coach. From Bear Bryant and then to, Stallings, and then after Gene Stallings, it was kind of a wandering through the wasteland for a little bit until they finally found Saban. I mean, I know what you're saying. It is Alabama, but there has to be some kind of drop because of him.
Right.
Not being on the sidelines.
But what kind of a drop? Like, and again, there are standards, right? There are like expectations of 10-plus win seasons every year and compete for a conference title. But if they only get 8, they're going to be trying to burn down Tuscaloosa. They're going to be so mad. But there's other programs that would love 8 wins, average a year. But that's my only question. If there is a drop, what's it going to look like? I'm not sure it's going to be as dramatic as some people think there is, just because Saban's not on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think the players that are still there are too good for it to be a massive drop-off early. Year 2, year 3, year 4, when some of those cycle out.
We'll see what it looks like.
That's when we'll see exactly how that's going to be. All right, what else you got?
The new playoff format, what's not necessarily the actual playoff when they start, but what is the approach for some teams now that it's a 12-team field, knowing like this is a must-win versus this is not a must-win, so we can kind of relax in this game? I don't know, but or if you're, and then I was thinking, are we going to get week in, week out, like, okay, this team is on, like, projections, like, this team's on the bubble, kind of like March Madness. This is the first 4 in, and these are the last 4 in and the last 4 out. They need to win their next 3 to get in, or something like that. And so basically, does it change the approach for coaches and teams into games with this new playoff format, because it's a bigger field of 12 teams to fill now. So overall, though, just the new playoff format, that's going to be a topic all season long.
Yeah, I think you might get that, honestly, in some form or fashion, like last 2 in or last 2, maybe not 4, but I want to see what the playoff, and it'll probably, once again, probably take a year or 2 or 3 to figure this out, but with the schedules that are already out there. But does the expanded playoff help or hurt, say, non-conference scheduling? Do teams, will they be more likely to play marquee out-of-conference games because the field is expanded? Or will it be have the opposite effect of, only worrying about records to then get into the playoff? Like, how nuanced is the committee going to be? Because it feels like right now, as much as they want to talk about this or that, a data point or whatever you want to say, it feels like the only real data point is the record. And specifically, what's on the right side of your record in the loss column. And if that's going to be the case, then I think schools are going to be less likely to, we may not see Texas play Michigan, Oklahoma play Michigan, those games, and that's not good for the sport whatsoever.
No, I loved how we've kind of gone from a reverse bowl season where at the beginning of the season we're seeing these marquee matchups that in the past you'd see them in the Orange Bowl or Sugar Bowl or something, and they mean something. Now bowl games, unless it is a playoff game, now they don't mean anything, and the players know it. They're opting out. They're not that fun to watch anymore. Yeah, I'm with you. I hope it stays the way it is, where we're getting these kickoff games in the in AT&T Stadium, neutral site games or on campus, big marquee games, 100%. And I was also wondering about this new playoff format because it felt like with the 4-team format, if you had 1 loss, your chances went way down of getting in. If you had 2 losses, forget about it. You're not getting in unless there's some miracle and maybe you can win a conference and something happens around you, but it was very rare. Now, can you suffer more losses with chances to get in?
Sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And then, the last thing on the playoff for me is how are the bids going to be distributed throughout the conferences? Yeah. Is the second place team in the Big 12 how often does that team make it? Is it a guarantee every year, or is it hit or miss depending on what the schedule was played and how the rest of the country shakes out?
Because in the past, you've had conference title games that this is a playoff game.
Kinda.
Because if the winner of this gets in, the loser does not. Could it turn into like you have 2 one-loss teams playing for a conference title and no matter what happens here, it looks like both teams are in.
Both teams will probably be in, yeah.
They're playing for a seed here.
I think that's it. And depending on the conference, that could be a big thing because it could mean a bye.
Yeah.
If you win in a league, it would put you into the top 4, and therefore now you get a bye and don't have to worry about playing that first game.
What if the rumblings go, hey, guys, you know what? If we actually lose this game, we get to host a game.
Well, and that's why it's never made sense to me with the way they're structured where the games are. I wish the first 2 rounds were on campus.
I do too.
That way the teams that earn those buys get rewarded with a home game, and then you don't. And another thing is you don't have the travel expense for fans trying to go somewhere 3 straight weeks or 4 in some cases.
You know who else would
that
love those home games? Local merchants and restaurants.
Absolutely.
They're like, hey, thanks for winning because we win too.
Oh man, can you imagine, say OU in Texas playing a second round playoff game in Norman or Austin? Holy cow!
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. And that's what's great about college football is those atmospheres on campus. As much as the games in Jerry World or Atlanta or wherever where they kind of meet at the first of the season, as cool as those are, it would be immensely better if they were on campus, just home and home.
It really would. Yeah.
Just the way it's just college football. That's what it's all about. Speaking of OU in Texas, Will had it on the text line, and I think it's one of the biggest storylines there is how do Oklahoma and Texas fare in their first season in the SEC. It certainly appears as if a majority of the country has decided that Texas is ready and OU isn't. Now, part of that, I think, is the schedules that those 2 teams play within the SEC. It is immensely, at least going into the year, Oklahoma's schedule is immensely harder than Texas's within the SEC. I mean, you can you see a lot of these prognostications of, okay, rank the teams in the SEC. You see Oklahoma 7th, 8th, 9th in some of them. And then you look above Oklahoma, and they play every single team that's above them except for Georgia. And only 2 are in Norman, with Tennessee and Alabama. Texas is obviously the neutral site, but then Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, all road games within the conference. So 4 of those, say, 6 teams that people think are better than Oklahoma going in are going to be played away from Norman, whereas Texas plays 2, Oklahoma and Georgia. But how that's all preseason. It seems like in that conference especially, you see kind of ebbs and flows, rises and falls from a lot of those teams that aren't named Alabama and Georgia. So, is Tennessee and, say, Missouri look better than, I don't know, A&M and Florida, let's just say. Florida's probably not a good one to use, but I'm just using them. But will those 4 schools kind of change positions throughout the year that we didn't really see coming?
We've seen a lot where I'll use Missouri as an example. I'm not picking on them because of this new budding rivalry between OU and Missouri, but for example, they looked really good last year. Rushing was awesome. Everything looked like their stock was going up. And then you've seen, and this is the SEC in particular, you see those teams. Okay, last year was a great year. They're gonna leap this year, and then they just Kentucky was kind of like that one year. Then the next year they're Yeah, that's what you're kind of saying, I think, so who's going to be that other team? I think Ole Miss is in that category. That they look primed to have a really good year this year. But back to OU, yeah, the scheduling doesn't do them any favors, but I think a lot of it, they say Texas is more prepared than OU. A little recency bias because they went into the playoff. They finally made the playoff, and last season they got Ewers back, and Sark is doing a great job down there. I'm not trying to sell them short here, but I think there'll be growing pains for them too going into the new conference. It's but the schedule is a lot easier for them. But I think OU I'm kind of getting this sense that they like being under the radar. Like they're like, okay, yeah, don't just forget about us. That's fine. And we'll see what happens. And there's other and on that note, I had that written down too about new teams and new conferences. You look at the Big Ten and what's going to happen over there: USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon. Did I miss anybody? So much.
Well, yeah, and then Stanford and them are going to the ACC.
Yeah, all that stuff. So I totally forgot about that, Stanford. But and then that landscape there. They're going to have to navigate those conferences. Be new for them. So yeah, that's just all I'm watching: these new teams and new conferences, and what's that going to look like? Not just for OU Texas, but I mean, it's all happening at once, which is just kind of crazy and fun at the same time.
Yeah, and of course, and another one. I think one of the most entertaining conference races is going to be in the Big 12. With the 4 new schools joining from the Pac-12. What do they bring? Utah is, I think most would say, the most highly regarded of the 4.
Yeah.
Because of the success that they've had under Whittingham and lately, especially being 2 out of the last 3 big Pac-12 titles were Utah. And then how that brand of football matches up with the holdovers from the Big 12. I think it's going to be a fascinating race because I don't know that there is a team that should be considered the favorite until we see it.
You nailed it. You say brand of football. How many times we said, "Oh, that's SEC style football.
Mm-hmm.
That's Big Ten style of football." And that was fun about bowl season. Like, oh, I'd love to see how that running style from the Big Ten goes up against that juggernaut of a defense from the SEC. Just as an example, how does that all blend now? And that's the thing about you hearing about OU and Texas. They're going to have to change their styles to go to the SEC, namely in the trenches and in offensive line, defensive line. And I think Venables has been recruiting hard in that regard. But that's going to be interesting too. See how these new styles that come into these conferences, how's that going to look? Like, for instance, USC. We know what Lincoln Riley's offense can look like. Well, we know Big Ten defenses are pretty good. So I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Yeah, not only the style of play there, but joining, where you're playing and when in the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different in Los Angeles or Tempe or Tucson in November than it will be in Columbus or Ann Arbor. So,
mm-hmm.
playing those cold weather games for USC and how they'll be able to handle that.
There will be an acclimation period. There's going to be some
adjustments. I think there will be for a lot of these schools.
For a lot of these schools, yes.
Absolutely, I do too. But back to the Big 12, I think it's just it's going to be an awesome race because there's, 5 or 6, would you say? Oklahoma State, Utah, both Kansases.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Kansas. I'm thinking who else could.
You never know about Iowa State.
Yeah, Campbell's still there.
They could pop up in a race like that.
I mean, TCU's just a couple years removed from being national runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows what they can. They took a step back based on what they just did. So
a lot of people like Texas Tech going into the year last year, and they struggled mightily to a 5-4 conference record. Could this be the year? Like maybe it was just, or even West Virginia. West Virginia, people you kind of forget. You know what West Virginia was in the Big 12 last year, record-wise?
Not bad.
6-3. They tied with Iowa State and Kansas State for 4th. Maybe Neil Brown's team is one of those that's ready to. I know they got the quarterback Green back. Garrett Green, he's back, and maybe West Virginia is one that can kind of sneak up into that race.
And Dave Aranda and
people
Baylor,
aren't talking about. Yeah, they were terrible last year.
Malzahn in Central Florida.
Mm-hmm. Central Florida feels like the one that's just waiting to explode.
Kinda.
It's just a matter of how long does it take them to get their fully acclimated into a Power 5 conference. I think that's going to be a heck of a race.
Yeah, Big 12's going to be wide open, I think, a little bit.
And of course, Oklahoma State, the power of expectations and how that hasn't gone necessarily very well over the last decade or so for Gundy's teams. When they've been expected to be really good, they haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is the power of expectations do to them? But man, when you start looking at the different production, like returning production, that kind of thing, Oklahoma State is at the very top in the nation, not just the Big 12, of returning productions on both sides of the ball. Kudos to them. A big part of that was a year ago, the portal felt like it decimated them. Think about the players and where they went from Oklahoma State and out. This year, they did a whale of a job keeping their guys, whether or not it be Gordon, Colin Oliver, Kendall Daniels, so on and so forth. They kept them all there, not only to return for another year to play football, but play football there at Oklahoma State. And so, I think that's honestly, that's like the glaring question for OSU, I think, is the production, the returners seem to be there. Now, can they navigate the waters of expectation better than they have in the past? If they do, schedule is pretty favorable. Mm-hmm. Utah's at home. West Virginia's at home. They do have to go to Kansas State. The back-to-back of BYU and Baylor on the road. That looks like a little bit of a scary spot there. And then Colorado, Deion's in the conference, right? That's kind of cool. But
yeah, that was the
but
topic.
That's the last game. So
Yeah.
are they? You probably, at least obviously last year, you'd rather play Colorado late than early.
Yeah, our man Jeremy mentioned Deion Sanders. Mm-hmm. That's a storyline. We're getting into over 5 storylines, but what does year 2 look like? Does it look like year 1? Kind of like a bang and then a dud, or do they get better?
Yep.
And what's that mean for him? If he does, if he elevates them, does a better job come calling? Or does this where he wants to be because now Colorado is in the Big 12? He can recruit Texas, he can recruit Middle America. I think that's what he always kind of wanted with that move from Colorado coming back to the Big 12. So,
yeah, and you got to kind of start thinking in terms of whether or not this is it for him at Colorado or not. It is going to be it for, say, Travis Hunter and Shadur. So if they do have a great season, I think this would be the time, if he wants to bounce, this would be the time he would, because his son, Shadur's not going to be there anymore. I think that plays into it a little bit as well.
And I'll always mention it until I can get the blessing, but the new NCAA football video game.
It's pretty cool that it's coming.
I'm going to
back.
start this campaign until
Allie says yes.
Until I get the A-OK.
Hey, big thank you to Rother Brothers in Clinton. Rother Brothers is a family-owned dealership started by its 3 owners in Kingfisher back in 1976. It has expanded now to 3 locations covering all of western Oklahoma in Clinton, Fairview, and Kingfisher. But it remains family-owned and operated dealerships to this day. Rother Brothers prides itself in creating a one-stop shop for all sorts of equipment, parts, repair services, many makes and models, and more. That's our friends at Rother Brothers, just north of Clinton on Highway 183. Give them a call, 580-323-1981. When we come back, we'll wrap up the week. That's some softball last night, softball today, Big 12 baseball tournament, little hoops. There's all kinds of stuff. Hockey. What a fun game that was, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Skinny on Sports to wrap up the week right here on the Sports Animal.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The The Skinny on Sports.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, 1240 AM, KADS, the Sports Animal Friday version here, wrapping up the week. Some quick hitters here on the sports landscape. We covered the storylines of college football, and there are a ton of them. Love to know what you think. I mean, we'll talk about this all summer long. There's a ton of them, and 580-225-9698. Always let us know what you're thinking out there. But there's just so much going on with college football and how it's changing rapidly, and who knows what it's going to look like when we actually kick things off on Labor Day weekend. Baseball-wise, Big 12 tournament, baseball tournament continuing today. OU in good shape. They won yesterday and are in the semifinals, awaiting the winner between TCU and Kansas. That game started about an hour ago, already in the bottom of the second, and Kansas is up now 9-3. It was 9-2, 9-1 moments ago. They just come roaring out of the gate. Winner of that game gets OU in the semifinal game, and unfortunately, Aaron, OSU fell last night. It was a late game. It was 1 a.m. when that game finally ended. I stayed up to watch it, and that was a mistake because I'm feeling it now. But it was a good game, though. I mean, they came out, got a 4-0 lead, and then gave it up. Central Florida got the lead, then Oklahoma State tied it, then Central Florida got it the win in the top of the 10th and held on to win it 7-6. So Oklahoma State's going to have to win a couple today to get into the championship game tomorrow versus what I hope, and I said this yesterday, I hope it's OU and OSU. A Bedlam Big 12 championship game would be a lot. If they should just say, okay, just pack it up, move it to Oklahoma City, out of the giant stage of Arlington. I love that stadium down in Arlington, but I think it's just too big for college baseball. I think a minor league stadium, a AAA stadium, even in Frisco or something would be a lot better than what it is in right now. But certainly hope Oklahoma State can turn it around and get back there on Saturday.
Okay, so looking at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not one of those situations where whoever wins this morning doesn't have to beat OU twice, right?
No, it's kind of silly. They've made it where
it's double elimination until it's not, right?
Until it's not. It's what's going on here? But today and from now on, if you lose, you're done. So from today, today's games, if you lose, you're eliminated.
And what's kind of weird about it is the one side of the bracket's going to play first. So it's whoever wins Kansas TCU immediately plays OU.
Right.
And then OSU and Tech play at 4, and then whoever wins that will then play immediately after that. Instead of having kind of the two losers bracket sort of games.
Yeah.
The bracket itself is going bang bang. So I guess it is.
People are knocking the format here. A lot of people are knocking
10 teams is a weird number anyhow. It's just it's all kind of convoluted.
I would be okay with, obviously being an OU fan, if they were to lose, I'd be okay. Well, let's have that's only their first loss.
Yeah, that's the weird part about it.
It doesn't feel they got the 1 seed, but now you're handcuffing them. I don't know, and they had to the very first round, the lower seeds that played on Tuesday was it?
Yeah, they moved on, and it was weird.
They had a day to rest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, doesn't that seem kind of backwards? Shouldn't the higher seeds get a day of rest?
Well, they did because they didn't have to play the first day.
That's true.
Yeah, it's just 10 teams is a weird number anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, softball last night, Oklahoma, one step away from another trip to Oklahoma City. What was the final score? 11-3.
There was a run rule. Yeah.
As it was 10-2, and then they scored 11-3. Oklahoma beats Florida State, and so one win away. Cowgirls get going today up in Stillwater as Oklahoma State and Arizona. That's a 7 o'clock for the first pitch. Same thing down in Norman for OU and Florida State. The only other game that was played yesterday, UCLA shut out Georgia. So UCLA, the Bruins are one win away from another trip.
Brito was awesome last night. 2 home runs. Almost had 3 and 3 at bats. She hit one off. Was a double off the top of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
She was awesome. But what's really encouraging, if you're OU, is the bats look like they're really coming alive at the right time. I know it's one game in the Supers, but
it's been more than that.
It's been more.
It's been clear back to after the Bedlam series.
I said that yesterday. Bedlam series might have woke him up. You kind of mentioned that's what Patty said in the post game interviews, that it's like, okay, that might have woke us up because they got that game 3, and there might have been a come to Jesus meeting after losing that series after this game 2, and they looked really good. Even Maxwell kind of struggled early, but my wife's like, how come they're not pulling her out? It's like, because they want her to go the full distance here. Gasso's hoping their bats come alive, and they certainly did. That's such a big. So now May will get the circle today to try to close this out. That's a good showing, and OSU I think should be fine. But man, Arizona's a team that they're not shy from this. I mean, they're a team that's won a couple titles in this century since 2000. So they're not going to shy away from this challenge in Stillwater.
No, I went to Arkansas last week and won.
Yeah.
That's a storied program, no doubt. Also, staying in college, the men's college golf tournament just teed off out in La Costa that's in basically San Diego area. Cool story about La Costa. My uncle, Leon, played golf at La Costa one time with none other than Michael Jordan.
How much money did he lose?
I don't know that story. I do know that I got Michael Jordan's autograph on a scorecard from La Costa, and one of my sisters wrote all over it in crayon.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So Oklahoma State's on the course. Sooners not yet. They don't tee off till a little bit later. But that's first round of the men's college national tournament on the golf course. Also, our man Quade Cummins in Nashville this week. 3 under par through his first 9 today for the tournament. It's going to put him right near the cut line. Probably needs to get to 4 under would be my guess to ensure himself a spot during the weekend. Cut currently at 2 under. I bet that moves to at least 3. So if Quade can get one more into the clubhouse, he was actually 5 under with three holes to play yesterday and bogeyed the last 3 to only shoot 2. Now he's 1 under through 9 today for a 3 under total. He is 5th on the points list so far through the season. Top 30 at the end of the year will get a PGA Tour card for next season. So he's obviously got himself in really good shape there. I went back and looked so right now he's 5th place, and he has accumulated 647 points with his results so far this season. I went back and looked at last year to kind of see where it ended up, like how many points was 30th, because the top 30 get a tour card. Mm-hmm. It was like 850. So he's nearing the point where he's got enough accumulated points throughout the season where that was good enough to earn a card last year. So, I mean, he's in phenomenal shape with still probably 15 tournaments left. I think there's actually 17. I went and counted. So 17 tournaments left all the way through the fall, and he's already just a little bit shy of what it took last year. So, man, if he continues, I mean, it seems like he was tied 8th last week or tied 6th last week. He's had 3 or 4 top 10 finishes. I think tied solo 3rd maybe, or tied 2nd was his best so far. But man, he's kind of coming into his own there on the Korn Ferry, and he's figured it out. And I don't, barring something not good happening to his game, I think Weatherford's Quade Cummins is in really, really good shape to be on the PGA Tour next year. So that's a really cool deal for him.
That is
no doubt
really
about
cool.
it. All right, man. Everybody have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Remember why we're having this holiday.
100%. They're going to have a nice memorial service, 10:30, Fairlawn Cemetery. Invite the public going out and check that out.
Absolutely.
And I'm told, bring your kids.
Bring your kids. All right. We'll be back Tuesday. Everybody have a great weekend. Skinny on Sports right here on The Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered